Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Around the Table podcast. You are listening to the voice of the angelic. Would you say angelic? I
would say angelic, yeah.
I guess we could say that. I am Brennen Hauter, your host as always. This is episode 2, and I am excited to bring on my first guest, the one and only, actually, my roommate, so it makes it kind of easy to bring on a guest like this, but I'm absolutely glad that he is here with me today.
Happy to be here.
Here, we got Brennen Walton with us, that is his name. Brennen, give us a little introduction of yourself. Give us a little synopsis of who you are.
All right, okay, well, I'm Brennen Walton. I am a junior at Ball State. I'm a TCOM major. I want to get into production. Just in any capacity, really. I'm a cool guy, I like to think, but others might have a differentiating opinion. Differentiating?
I guess that's a good word.
I don't know how to talk, apparently. I just like talking about stuff. I'm just here on the podcast. Let's make it happen. I don't know how to sell myself better than that.
No, I think that's a good way to put yourself. Brennen has gotten me onto a different path with me living with him, and not in a bad way by any means, but we kind of live different lives, so to speak. I mean, we're very similar in a lot of senses, but at the same time, I'm a sports nerd and he's a movie nerd, so our paths tend to cross each other. And honestly, I am very thankful that they have, because of the fact that I have gotten more into movies because of you. And I mean, it's been nice. I'm starting my own movie collection. I've actually been obsessed with getting movies. Just this past week since we've been back, I've bought 10 movies in general. So it's getting up there. I'm starting to build up the collection. I don't think it's going to be anything like yours, though.
Yeah, I mean, the Blu-ray addiction is definitely something else, though. But I'm happy to have inspired. I for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, and I appreciate that very much. Now, let me give the audience kind of a background of what our friendship kind of is. So,
yeah, of course.
Basically, we are, like Brennen explained, juniors in college at Ball State. Actually, our second semester of being juniors. Going to be seniors next year.
That's weird. I don't want to talk about it. I
don't think it's really possible to kind of imagine where we're at right now. Are we mature enough to be at that sense of being in college?
I guess so. Because I mean, like, when are you ever really like? Because I guess my definition of like what I guess growing up, you know what I'm saying? Like, my view of people that were in college, I thought it would be different.
Yeah.
Than how it actually is.
I think the media does a bad representation of what college actually is. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Ball State's known as a party school, so it's like it's one of those things that you kind of expect it coming into it. And I mean, this is no Project X type shit, but like
I don't know, man. Back in the day, freshman year, it was a little bit crazy. But it wasn't anything like maybe it was Project X. Down at the Lighthouse was nuts, but overall, college is underwhelming, I guess. Honestly, but at the same time, overwhelming. It's just the opportunities are endless.
Right, and
you can really do whatever you want with it.
I think for me, it's a little different too, because I'm 4 hours away from home. So, like, I mean, you're still kind of far away from home, 2 hours, right?
Yeah, it just says 2 hours on maps, so I get there in like hour 30 out of 45.
Speed demon.
That's because I drive fast, but that's just me.
Hopefully, the Fort Wayne cops aren't listening, because then they might stop you at some point.
Come at me at this.
Well,
if they're listening, honestly, I'm honestly just amazed that we're already here. Second episode in, we're reaching Fort Wayne cops.
Exactly.
That's the appeal that we're looking for.
That'd be incredible, actually.
I hope they're hearing this. Cops, if you're hearing it, my name is Brennen Walton. I drive a 2011 Dodge Avenger. Pull me over and tell me you're a fan of the show.
Well, it's not something I would really present myself as if I was going home, but actually, let's just say this: where are you actually from in Indiana?
I'm from a small town called Kendallville, Indiana.
How many people live there?
I actually don't know. I think it's around 12,000. I think that's the population. It's not very, but it's not like ridiculously small either. But it's not a big city by any means. It's just an average sized town. Like, there's enough that we can support us, and it's growing too. Like, growing, take that with a grain of salt, but like, it's getting cleaner, I guess.
Okay.
Like, they're making it a lot nicer, like more presentable to people.
Kind of like Muncie.
A little bit, except Muncie's gross, man. Like,
Muncie's huge,
worse
though.
Yeah, Yeah.
Muncie is a lot.
Kendallville is essentially a smaller Muncie, really.
Yeah, I
Like,
can imagine. I'm sure that's how a lot of towns in Indiana
just
are.
minus the college campus that
Right.
like thousands
that
of kids
basic supports the whole town of Muncie.
Oh, yeah, no, Muncie's a shithole.
Well, anyways, so the reason that I told Brennan kind of what the idea of what I wanted to do was for this episode specifically, but I didn't give him any knowledge of what we were going to talk about because I didn't want him to know. I didn't want to have him dig deep into his brain to figure out everything. But I didn't even we got off on such a tangent. And this is what I tend to do on my own shows as well, is I do get off kind of on a tangent. But I want to go back. That is the beauty. It's free range, and we like to just be able to be ourselves. But
chop it up.
Going back to kind of just the whole background of Brennan and I. So we lived in the same dorm our freshman year, and we weren't roommates, but basically, I mean, we were a door down, basically, just
it was across the hall and to the right, I think.
Yeah, so we were very close together. Honestly, we were pretty blessed to have the floor that we had, because I know a lot of people have nightmares about their roommate situation, their dorm situation, and honestly, like, I was that person that was like, I got to get out of the dorms. Like, I don't want to live here another year, which eventually I did not. I only lived there the year that we had to live there, and ended up moving to an apartment. But we were blessed. I mean, we had a great RA. Shout out Jay Lee.
Jay Lee, you're the man.
Absolute great guy. Honestly, there's a lot of people that are like, well, my RA was a strickler. Like, they needed you in your room. You had quiet hours, blah, blah, blah. I mean, there was weekdays where it was 3 o'clock in the morning and people were still up and being obnoxious. And sometimes it would honestly piss me off because I'd be like, I got to be up at 8 a.m. I got to go to class in the morning. Like, that is annoying sometimes. But at the same time, there was never a dull moment. I mean, always expected to see people. That. People had their doors open, you know.
I mean, yeah, the third floor was awesome, man. Like, especially just our specific hallway. Like, everybody was just pretty tight, honestly. Like, it was a good community. Like you said, like, people have nightmares about their, like, freshman dorm experience. Like, I'm so grateful that, like, I was not in a position where that was my life. Like, I roomed with Gunnar. He was my best friend. Lived right next to Russ and Lucas. They were tight. Antonio, Caleb, the whole gang. Like, it was just so. And Jay Lee. Oh my God! Thank God for such a good RA.
Oh, absolutely.
He was just a cool dude. Really. I mean,
he was very understanding to put it in any sense.
He's so cool.
You come in, and especially for me, I don't know how you felt, but when I was coming into my freshman year, I wasn't exactly afraid of college by any means, but at the same time, I was kind of skeptical of what I was getting into because, like I said, moving away 4 hours away, that was tough for me because that's something that I never had done before.
Yeah.
And being 18, I mean, there's still a lot of flaws in your life.
You're a kid, dude.
Yeah.
You're a kid. You're just figuring it out. And I think that's what's kind of cool about college, though, is that you get to kind of come in as this just child, essentially. I mean, you're fresh out of high school. You think you're hot shit. And college definitely, it just levels you. Especially, I mean, because we go to a decent-sized school, too. So it puts you in a place where you're not top dog anymore. You're literally the bottom of the barrel.
You are nothing. Yeah.
You're nothing. You're a freshman. So walking into it's very intimidating.
Even being a junior, like
I still don't
you're
know
still nothing.
We're all winging it.
Right. I mean, you're kind of just a statistic in college. There's no doubt about it. Like, you're funding this college very immensely. So, but just kind of going back to all that, I wanted to talk about our freshman stories, and it doesn't have to exactly be with me and you. I kind of just want to talk about just that beginning experience because we just talked about it and said, hey, like, we were immature and like we had a lot of things to learn. So, kind of just going back to that and thinking, 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, honestly. I mean, it was 2017 that we started. It's 2020 now. Yeah. Just kind of the immaturities and the flaws that we had back then and see where we've come from now. I mean, for me, it was also kind of one of those things, like, I roomed with Nick, obviously, and Nick I had never met him before I came to college.
Yeah,
I played hockey against him, so that's how I knew who he was, but we had never met formally in person. Mm-hmm. So again, that was one of those question marks for me. I was like, I don't really know who. I knew we were going to click. Like, he's a hockey player. We had a lot of the same interests, but at the same time, it was still an unknown for me, so it was kind of scary.
It is spooky. I feel that, but I mean, honestly, like I think you're pretty easy. Like you're not like the hardest guy to get along with, though. You know? So it's I think you kind of you're good there, but I don't know. Just coming to college was just freaky.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I definitely understand that because you say 4 hours away, and like mine was less far away. But like I grew up in this small town. I never really left. Like I would live in Fort Wayne part time, but coming to college is intimidating, man.
Yeah,
it's just freaky. You're on your own. Like just
it's quite the change, and I mean, I have helped myself, and like I never thought that. I never questioned in my mind that I wouldn't be able to make friends, and I know a lot of people have that issue. They're like, well, I don't know if I'm going to make friends at college. I never questioned that. And literally, the first night that I was there, I was sitting in my room, and my dad had dropped me off. He left and everything, and it just all hit me like a train. I was like, I am on my own. Like, I need to start fending for myself. Yes. I mean, obviously, when you're in the dorms, you get your meals still cooked for you because you're on a meal plan. But still, there's a sense of responsibility. You have to do your own laundry. You got to do all these other things. And no one's going to be there to be like, hey, Jared, Brennan, get up. Go to class. No one is going to tell you that. You need to do it yourself. Yeah. And that actually brings me to a funny story. All right. Between us, freshman year, Brennan and I had a class. We had several classes together.
Did we?
We did.
We did. We did have several. I forgot about the TCOM stuff.
We had a couple TCOM classes. I started as a TCOM major. I'm now a journalism major because I realized that's not exactly the field that I was supposed to be in. I guess I got misguided a little bit.
You were close.
No, it was helpful though because I mean most of my credits still transferred and whatnot. So it was kind of nice to be able to do that. But Brennan and I had another class outside of TCOM which was health science.
Oh my god.
And
never mind.
A very boring class. Let's put it at this. We had Justin in our class. Justin was one of our friends as well.
Justin Snyder.
So
shout out Justin Snyder real quick.
Justin, let's give a background on Justin. Justin is a radio voice at best.
Justin is a god among men. That's all I gotta say about Justin Snyder.
Right, let's give a little physical appearance to the audience. Justin had to have been what 6'4"?
Yeah, I think he was taller than me. I'm 6'3", so he had to
6'4", 6'5". And this dude had some pipes on him. You could hear that man from... You could hear this man from Antarctica. I'm not kidding. His voice is quite manly.
The deepest voice I think I've ever heard.
And more of a physical representation of him. He would wear short shorts. This dude is very tall.
Not only would he wear short shorts, he would strive for the shortest shorts.
Oh yeah, it wasn't. It was just like your average.
It was a game to this man.
Yeah. we literally.
He did 1,000 calf raises every night before bed.
1,000?
I think maybe 100. I
was gonna say that.
Maybe 1,000. Honestly, I wouldn't count it against him if he was doing 1,000.
Did you ever look at his calves?
I never inspected him, no. But I just know one time I was in the room hanging out with his roommate Caleb, and Justin just like started doing calf raises, and he did them for so long. And he was like, "Man, I do this every night before bed. I got to." Justin Snyder was he's this great guy. Like we've hyped him up enough, but like the guy doesn't. At least at the time, I think he has a little bit now, but he used to like he wouldn't drink, smoke. He wouldn't even consider. He was just a holy boy, like. Just a good all around. The guy that you want your daughter to walk in with, like when you're like as a boyfriend. Like,
right.
If I was a dad and I had a daughter, and I would be very protective of this girl. But if she brought in Justin Snyder to meet me, I would be like, "You did the best. This is the best. This is the best possibility."
Now you brought up an idea, and we're going off on a tangent. But I swear to God, we will get back to what we were talking about.
There's a plan here. I'm not in on it.
We're working our way around. We're getting to all the ins and outs. Let's say that. Jay Lee, back to our RA.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of not smoking and not drinking, just to show you how good this guy is.
Yeah.
He made, a promise to his grandmother?
I believe that is the story.
So he made a promise to his grandmother after she had passed away, before she had passed away, that he would never smoke nor drink. which he held to it. I mean,
yeah,
I
like I was at all the parties, but he would never be drinking.
Yeah, he's in a fraternity.
Bro
too.
was high off life, and it was honestly inspiring.
He does like motivational speaking videos on Instagram. Just the guy. Like, if you ever needed to consult somebody and you needed to just get some life advice, he would be able to pound it into your head.
It really was. It's crazy how
we really had, like, it wasn't just about having a cool group of people. Like, we had great people. Like, Rhett was one of my close friends. He was my next door neighbor. He's a man of God too. Like, he's always been such a nice guy. He's engaged now, which is
he really?
Yeah, he's been engaged
Congrats to Rhett.
for a couple months, I would say now, with his longtime girlfriend.
Happy to hear it.
Yeah, so that's good to hear as well. And we had like a great group of people. Like, everyone was so nice, and even I had classes with Russ. I never had classes with Lucas though. Now this is the first time I've had class with Gunner too.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of just coming full circle, and it's nice to be able to do that. But let's get back to the point here. Okay. So the point, we're in health science.
Oh yes.
And Brennan's a much better student now. Let me just put it at that.
I got all A's and B's last semester. Don't sleep on me.
I
was unmotivated and lost.
You were undecided at that point, right?
I was a TCOM major, but I was like deciding.
You're kind of bouncing back.
I wasn't sure if I wanted to continue doing TCOM because you have to take 4 semesters of a foreign language,
which we are doing now.
Now I'm doing it because I realized that TCOM was what I wanted to do, and I was not about to let a Spanish class be the thing that stopped me.
And the good thing is we both have a very strong passion for what we like, and you really like movies, I really like sports, and that's what we're striving for our careers. And honestly, that's all I ever asked for in college when I was coming here was I wanted to find something where I wasn't going to be sad about my job, depressed about my job. I wanted to continue to work at a goal. But health science, it was not an interesting class by any means. It was
a health class. It was the same health class we all took in high school.
Right.
Just reiterated.
And it was a huge lecture.
Oh my god.
And by the way,
the professor was very cool though.
Stassi.
She was very nice.
She was very nice, but Brennen wasn't a great student.
Oh yeah. Back
in freshman year, so I went to class all the time. I'm not gonna like pump my tires or anything, but I rarely ever miss class. Like I'm quite a different student than I was in high school. In high school, like I would still attend class. I wouldn't pay attention, so to speak, but college has changed me very much. I know that I have to pay for, like, it's not coming out of my pockets, so to speak, yet, but I know that this costs a lot of money, and I can't mess it up. So basically, I would go to class all the time, and Brennen would be texting me, hey, like, we had this sign-in sheet. Hey, why don't you sign me in today? And like, all right, the first time I was like, okay, that's cool. I'll see you on Thursday. Thursday comes around. Hey, do you mind signing me in today? So like eventually it would get to the point where like Justin would get the sign-in sheet first, and I'd be like, hey Justin, sign Brennen, and like Brennen would show up like once in a blue moon. To be honest,
it was a dumb class.
It was, and it was
I
like
got a D in it. Go to class, kids. If there's any kids listening,
and honestly, like going to class is half the battle. Like more than half the battle.
Just showing up. Yeah. Honestly, if you just show up and actually like just pretend to give a fuck for like an hour.
Well, even if you're
even pretending to give
even if you're somewhat attentive, like you should still be able to comprehend stuff without like. I mean, there's like classes like that. You should, like, when it comes to TCOM classes and all this other stuff, those are the classes that you really need to nail in on. Yeah. And we could go into discussion about how college scams you and blah, blah, blah with all these other classes. I mean,
it does.
Why are we taking 4 semesters of a foreign language when that's not something that we're going to deal with? And 4 semesters is not going to make you fluent by any means. So, I mean, we can have this discussion on and off all the time. But, I mean, it's crazy that looking back on all these things, and like this is my first year actually like rooming with you. Yeah. And we're not gonna be rooming next year, but
R.I.P.
Honestly, like the growth that we've both made from freshman year to now is absolutely immense, and I'm glad like it's gone in the right direction.
I would have to agree. I think I've definitely gotten my shit together. Pardon my French, for lack of a better word. Gotten my things together. Yeah. Way more. I've also just sophomore year was definitely a learning experience. Because I switched from TCOM to sociology, and
which is my minor.
Yeah, and it just I was thinking I wanted to be a guidance counselor. It was kind of a very unmotivated, but I
don't know if I could see you doing that.
I think I could.
I think I could
if I had a real passion for it. Because
right.
I like talking to people and like being there for people. Like I've been through stuff, so like if you got to talk to somebody, whatever, I'm there. But like I just didn't. That was my backup plan because originally I wanted to be like I wanted to study psychology, but then I took a psychology class in high school. And I didn't like it as much as I thought I was going to.
See, so. the crazy thing is that a lot of people like think that psychology and sociology are one and the same.
They're really not.
And they're actually quite different. Like psychology is all brain work basically.
Yeah, it's more internal stuff.
Right. It's about why you do certain things or why you act. I guess sociology is kind of that way too, but it's sociology studies society,
people, and how they interact, and cultures, and what that entails. And there's just a lot to it.
I feel like there's a lot more to sociology as well. There's a lot more categories that you can get into and say there's a sociology of race, gender, sports. You can look into film, stuff like that. There's
sociology of sports class.
Yeah. And
really
it's cool. I mean, I like it, and to have a minor in it, I guess somewhat it's probably going to help me in my career because it
gives you an awareness of. I mean, because you're going out into society, so it's not the worst thing to have a little bit of knowledge about society,
right?
Going into on a deeper level than
it's
just
also
face value.
It's also one of those things that it's nice to kind of know how people think too.
Yeah.
Because now you know how people react to certain situations, and being a journalist, you need to know how people react to situations, and that's basically a big part of your job. So I think that's only going to help me in the long run. But moving on to another story that I have, and then you can spit out any that you want. So one night in the dorms, it was a Friday night, and I did not go out. I rarely went out my freshman year just because, like, I didn't really hang around you guys, like, to go to parties and stuff like that. But as, obviously, we've gotten older, like, things have transpired that way. But
I just took you out to the bars for the first time.
Right, yeah. For finally legal to go to the bars, so that's been a nice experience. But anyways, Friday night, rolling into Saturday morning, because this was Saturday morning at this point, I'm sleeping, and my roommate's not there because his girlfriend Kennedy lived in Elliott Hall, which was very far away. Let's just say that from Johnson. It was opposite ends of the campus. Yeah, so
Johnson on the far end of everything.
Well, my mom is calling me right now, but she'll have to wait. Shout out Christine. Anyways,
Christine. Great woman.
So it's like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sleeping, and Nick's not there. So I'm like, okay. So I hear a knock on my door. So I suppose it's Nick. I'm like, did he Nick was known for forgetting his keys. Like, so many times I'd like be at class and be like, hey, are you at the dorm right now? I'm like, no. I was like, oh, well, I'm locked out. I was like, I'll be back at 2 o'clock. Like, I can help you then. So this wouldn't that was the worst, wasn't it?
Oh my god, so helpless.
Well, so this wouldn't have been out of the book to be like, okay, why is Nick here at 4 o'clock in the morning knocking on the door? So I was like, all right. So I looked at the people. It's not Nick, it's Gunner. And Gunner was Brennan's roommate. And I'm like,
shout out Gunner.
I'm like, should I answer it? Should I not? Should I go back to sleep? Like, it was, everyone was being loud in the hallway. So I'm like, screw it. What do I got to lose? So I open it. He's like, hey, were you sleeping? Like, yeah. Like, I couldn't see or anything. Like, I was just so tired. And he's like, do you mind doing us a favor? I'm like, what is it? And he's like, well, we need to sign some people into the dorm because you need to sign like guests into the dorm, and you can only have 2 guests was like your max. And was this for Jay Lee, right?
Yes,
so
I believe so.
So our RA needed people to sign his guests in, but obviously he had more than 2 guests. He had like 6, 7 people.
He had a lot of people.
There was a lot of people. So
they were.
I was like, sure, I guess like being the guy I am, I'm not gonna say no to that. So we had to gather a lot of people. Like, I remember going up.
It was a recruitment process.
It literally was. And it was tough because we're like, we're like scratching our heads, like trying to figure out who can we knock on, like whose door can we knock on at this point. We're knocking on everyone's door.
Because not everybody was home because it was a Friday night. So, like, people were out. They might be sleeping somewhere else.
People just did not want to answer. And
we went upstairs,
we went downstairs, and eventually, like, I was just so tired. I went downstairs. I signed these 2 people in. I'm like, guys, I'm sorry. I'm going back to bed. Like, I did my purpose. I served my purpose.
Yes,
but
you did your part. You helped.
Honestly, that just shows what like kind of the obstacles that was like a daily basis for us. Like, you just couldn't not expect something like that to happen.
Yeah, you can never count it out. That's for sure.
It was fun though. I mean, at the days that I lost sleep, I was probably pretty mad about it. But looking back on it,
the grand scheme of things,
it was worth it. It was a good experience. But do you have any stories
about the dorms?
Anything freshman year?
Freshman year, I get the lighthouse story. Or that's one. There's a lot of lighthouse stories. The lighthouse was a house that a lot of my friends from high school who were the class above me, they had owned, and they were renting because they were sophomores, and they always had the parties for it. Man, that's where I was always at, and I think it was, I want to say homecoming weekend, but don't hold me to that. I could be wrong. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, this is that night that we just discussed, everybody coming, that was homecoming weekend. Because that's why I was up.
I think you're right, because
me and Gunnar had consistently, because that was the last home tailgate, and we had consistently slept through. There was only 3 our freshman year. And we had slept through the first 2, and that's why I was up. And so that we decided to stay up all night, and just so that way we wouldn't oversleep, because it just was a trend that we had found ourselves in. So anyways,
it's very easy to
follow. So yeah, so this whole story ties together. There we go. There's your little bow and knot for you.
Thank you.
So the next night, I was at my friend's house, and they had this big party, and literally their house would like become like max capacity of people, that probably more than max capacity. It was like assholes to elbows inside that house.
That's rough.
So many people, and I had to use the bathroom, and the bathroom line was long, so I went outside because I'm drunk. And I remember there was some commotion going on outside the front of the house when I came out, because people were like, there was the entire front yard was filled with people trying to get inside the already filled house, but I had to use the bathroom, so I was like, excuse me, like, get me out of here. Pushing through all the people to get out the front door, and there's like this line of people, and they're like, listen, we can't fit anybody inside. I'm like, whatever, I gotta use the bathroom. So I go around the corner and do the deed, and I come back around the corner, and literally everybody is just fighting. Like,
no way.
Like, the entire crowd, like, the crowd that was trying to get in apparently was getting a little extra mad they couldn't get in. I wasn't there for the moment that incited the entire thing, but something went down, and like literally there was like just like hundreds of people just fighting, and I was like, what is happening? Because I'm very, just like you, Jared, I'm not, just trying to stray away from conflict when possible.
Yeah.
And I just remember, because my buddy Kirkland was visiting, and he like comes in, like there's this girl, and she gets hit. Somebody punches this girl.
No way.
And I'm like, oh shit. And then Kirkland, he's a Marine, and he was on leave, so he just like, but I just remember seeing him like in this like essentially like a war zone, except drunk college students.
Yeah.
And Kirkland just grabs this girl, he's like, let's get you inside, and he's like running through everybody, and it was literally like a war film. Like, it was absolutely crazy.
You should have pulled some like Scorsese, like just went around, pulled out a little camera, and
honestly,
did some work
if
there.
I had a camera on me, that would have been an interesting movie.
You know what would be awesome? Like, now that I think about it, since we both, like, you have more of a film background than me, but I've worked with cameras before, so like it would be somewhat not out of my realm to do it.
Yeah.
Is to honestly like just go to parties sober.
Yeah.
And observe. Like, I know some people might not be the happiest that you have a camera around, but some people might.
People probably wouldn't notice, honestly. They would probably be like trying to get in the camera.
Right, exactly.
Hey,
it would be like some MTV type stuff.
Yeah, that could be fun. I bet you'd get a lot of interesting.
You would, and
little details about people in that video.
Honestly, like, I would love to gain the reputation of doing that, and then be like getting hired by people. Like, hey, I'm throwing a house party on Saturday. Like,
and just
do you mind coming to film it so that we can like make a DVD out of it? Like, that'd be crazy. Like,
that would be crazy.
That's some entrepreneur type shit.
They could really be saying last night was a movie,
right? And it was, because it was filmed by Brennen and Jared. Like, that'd be wild.
Fucking BJ's video service. Brennan and Jared.
That would actually be kind of catchy. I like it.
I really would.
All right, well, put it down, pen and paper. We're doing it.
All right.
We just gotta invest a couple $1,000s into some equipment and whatnot.
Hey, anybody throwing parties? Need a videographed? I don't know. Is that the
Videographer?
Sure.
Yeah, that's the term.
Hire us.
That's the term we're gonna go.
We'll do it. We'll come to your party. We won't drink your booze, but we'll just record all the stuff that happens.
And we don't care. Like we
don't judge.
We could go crazy with it.
You guys do anything you want to do.
Like this probably won't be anything X-rated by any means, but
hey, don't count Ball State parties out just yet.
No, exactly. And I think if we're gonna like jot down the craziest parties the craziest party I think I've been to, like, not like nothing crazy happened, just like the whole day was kind of just messed up, was St. Patty's last year.
Oh boy.
I feel
St. Patty's will get.
I feel like St. Patty's is just like collectively for everybody on a college campus just the most messed up day, because last year at St. Patty's, like, it was just a whole fiasco. Like, it started from the night before, sleeping that off, and then waking up at damn near like 9 o'clock in the morning and starting then and not stopping until like 4 o'clock. Like that weekend will always put a toll on my body like I've never seen before.
St. Patty's brings out the best and worst in people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
I mean, like, or you know what I mean when I say that? Like, I just feel like people are just ready to party, and that's also because it's like kind of the first. Because by then it's March. Usually the weather's pretty nice. I remember last year the weather was very nice.
It was like in the 60s. I believe.
So, but like everybody's kind of there's this definite lull as far as Ball State parties go, in that January, February
right now
is kind of where now is where we're operating. There's still partying. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's Ball State. There's gonna be something.
Yeah.
But as far as like, there's just less things going on just because people don't.
The morale's low.
Because like, honestly, the majority of people that are going to like house parties are like freshmen and sophomores.
Exactly.
And most of them, not all of them, because neither of us lived in the dorm sophomore year, but like, it's usually a trek to get to party. You have to walk from the dorms.
Yeah.
When it's cold outside.
Friar Row is pretty far too from most of the dorms. I mean, unless you live
it's a little bit chilly outside. People are like, you know what? Maybe I can just stay in and watch Netflix. My body's tired. I got a lot of homework to do.
I think that was kind of my mindset too. Was like, I was just like, it just, there doesn't seem like a lot of benefit that comes out of it. Like, I'm gonna be tired, and like realistically, where we live now, it's not like, if we wanted to go to the bars, it's not far by any means.
No.
If you wanted to go to frat houses, it's not far. It's literally a walking distance. So it's nice that we're in this kind of location. I think next year, living at like being bar legal and like being like legal to drink, it's gonna be so nice living at the VP.
The VP's gonna be so
because
sweet, dude.
I can go straight down to Brothers, which
it's like in the same
to put it into
building.
perspective, Brothers and VP, like Village Promenade is the apartment. They are connected together. Like, the VP is on top of Brothers, basically.
Yeah, the VP just goes higher. I
can go downstairs and then walk straight back up and not have any issues, not have to worry about Ubering, any kind of sort of other payment, because being at the bars is expensive as it is. So,
oh my God, yeah.
So just being able to do that, it's going to be super nice, and I'm going to be fortunate to do that. And senior year is going to be something special, I think.
I think you might fucking finally let the tiger out of the cage senior year, Jared.
I think the tiger has been released.
I know, but I'm saying on a greater level, like a mystic.
So
tiger, like an even higher level.
Like maybe some hangover type.
Yeah, I could just see your senior
like, am I gonna end up on the top of the VP?
If you don't, I'll be a little disappointed.
Honestly, like, we need to gather a group of people. Like, we need to do a little scouting report.
Yes.
And just make like a hangover type night. It doesn't even have to be me. Maybe it could be you. Like,
I don't want to be the one that
you want to end up on the roof.
Not particularly. I find when I drink too much, I don't.
You just end up in your bed.
I don't know if I'll end up on a roof, but I'll definitely get myself into some trouble of some type.
See, that's when we can hire somebody to follow us around, and we don't gotta be the videographers.
Yeah, they can. And we can make a movie out of that.
That'd be crazy. We could be an extension to Bradley Cooper and
maybe they'll
and Zach Galifianakis.
If I could get some recognition from Zach Galifianakis or Bradley Cooper, that would be cool.
Honestly, like, I think that would be a dream. I think The Hangover is probably one of my favorite trilogies. Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
It's just like there's a lot of trilogies
like
that
trilogies of all time. Or
I don't know about. I don't know
comedies?
about. I don't know about all time because Dark Knight is probably my favorite trilogy.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with
Batman.
Dark Knight.
Bruce Wayne
trilogy. Shout out Christopher Nolan and Christian Bale.
Seriously,
you guys did a great job.
Okay, so just to clear this up, we had a little bit of technical difficulties. Some storage wasn't working out there, but the point that I was getting at was we were asked what our favorite movie is, and I put down The Joker in one of my classes. That's kind of just an icebreaker thing.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about it. I was like, I really like just Batman movies in general, like the past 4 Batman movies, I guess you could say, with the Dark Knight trilogy, and then Joker, which isn't a Batman movie per se. It's the same kind of series, if you get what I'm saying.
It's Batman's greatest enemy.
But everything that has come out, I'm like, this is a hit. Like,
how you feel about Ben Affleck?
That's kind of diving into deeper waters for me because I wasn't really too much of a fan of that. I'm talking about just like the Christian Bale Batman, and then we had Joaquin Phoenix being Joker. Like those 4 movies.
Yeah, no, I would have to agree because
I was like, those are fantastic. I don't think that any other trilogy.
Very well done films.
What would you call something out of a trilogy? Like now that 4 movies.
What do you
what would you call 4 movies? Like a 4-movie series. A quadigy?
A quadigy, maybe. I don't know. I feel like after like 3 movies, it just becomes like a saga.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of like because a saga, from my understanding, I don't really have a textbook definition.
So what would you call the Fast and the Furious series? Like
I just made it a franchise.
Yeah.
Not specific because I guess I would use a different word for that because Joker and the Dark Knight trilogy aren't actually like connected.
They're not related, but if
Fast and Furious feeds into one another and gets crazier and crazier every time.
In a perfect world, I would put the Dark Knight trilogy with Joker and be like, these just stand out above anything else. And I mean, obviously you're a big Marvel fan, so you are
but they're different. There's different things that I get from watching. Like Marvel movies are just fun to watch.
Yeah, they are.
You know what I mean? Like
there's comic
the Dark Knight
relief.
And Joker is like those are like very just well done movies. Like from just the ground up, like great casts, great director. Oh my god, Christopher Nolan and Todd Phillips. Shout out.
Yeah.
What a leap from the Hangover franchise.
Seriously.
To this.
And we just talked about the Hangover too. As like there's a lot of movies that you look at and you're like, why did they come out with the second one?
Yeah.
And like the Hangover, if they made a 4th one, I'd still be like, this is golden. Like it's still the same idea, but just so well executed. I mean, they went to Bangkok in the second one. The first one was in Vegas.
Awesome.
Then they go back to Vegas in the third one.
The third one's like weird. Like it's fine. Like I think the third one's definitely my least favorite though. Like, but it closes the story. Like it does a good job as far as like a trilogy. I think Hangover being a trilogy because it was originally just this standalone, just fried movie. Like which is hilarious. Everybody loved The Hangover when it came out.
Right. I think the first one was probably my favorite.
Yeah, I damn near like the second one. I think that's more just because like I just remember watching the second one. I feel like I watched the second one more.
I honestly,
a personal thing. Though.
I've probably watched all those movies too many times. I mean, I could definitely count on 2 hands how many times I've seen all those movies. But honestly, I'm not upset about it by any means.
No, they're worth a rewatch. They're so fun. Because they're relatable. Everybody has those crazy nights. It's just the most exaggerated version of it.
I don't know if it's relatable, I would say.
That's what I'm saying. It's like the most exaggerated version of exactly. A crazy night. Exactly. So that's like, everybody's like, damn, I had that one night that was kind of crazy. Yeah. Like that.
But I didn't lose my friend and almost risk his marriage. But so this is the last thing. Brennan and I were talking about this earlier. We talked about Adam Sandler. And like, there's so many actors that you could look at and you could be like Adam Sandler, Will Ferrell. I feel like it's a lot of comic acts. Kevin Hart. Yeah. Those are guys that you think of and you see their name on a movie trailer. You see them in a movie trailer and people are like, I'm going to see that movie. It doesn't matter what it's about. I'm Seth Rogen, I guess you could say that as well.
I rock with Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
Jonah Hill.
It's crazy, but we were talking about the Oscar nominations and the fact that Adam Sandler he's definitely upset about
robbed.
Yeah, he got snubbed.
He was robbed at the Oscars. He should have won everything.
But
at least the nomination.
Right.
Fuck.
I think the thing is though is when you look at these grand scale awards, you look at Leo DiCaprio, someone who's honestly one of my favorite actors of all time. He's been in such great roles, great movies. I mean, The Wolf of Wall Street was phenomenal, and
it's a staple,
and worthy enough of
Stratton Oakmont flag up in this room.
Right? Yeah, we support Leo DiCaprio with that. But
and Jordan Belfort, I don't care. He fixes mistakes.
Right. Anyways, so I feel like with those awards, and you look at the Grammys too, as being a grand scheme of awards. They're not always the most thought out by any means, and it's an academy, so there's politics that play into it, which I don't like.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a lot of like I watch the Oscars and stuff. Like I don't really watch the Grammy, but I watch the Oscars. But honestly, it is very much like I just feel like they don't make the right calls, but like at the same time, it's like what really makes a movie great. Like it's not the award that it gets. Like Uncut Gems completely robbed. Just for an example, like I thought that was an amazing movie. Like I have never felt that anxious while watching a movie ever, and I think that's what the filmmakers set out to do. So that I think it's good for what it was, but just because it didn't get the Golden Globe fucking Oscar nomination, like it doesn't devalue the movie in any way, shape, or form. It's still an amazing film. Like I guess I just don't think that films should be praised. I mean, they should be praised for getting an Oscar. Like that's an achievement. It's what people strive for, but it's not everything. Awards aren't just in that. Just because, especially in this day and age, with all these streaming services, how easy it is to just create all these. How many opportunities these services can give to like filmmakers to just make whatever they want. Like there's good things that happen. It's just Oscars don't always.
When it comes to Oscars, though, is they have to be presented in the theater in order to win.
Not true.
Why is that?
Fucking Roma was a Netflix film. It might have been in theater. They might have like put it in.
That's
theaters,
what I'm saying.
Like,
Netflix
to qualify.
That's what I'm saying. That's what Netflix does. Is they'll show like a very limited amount of screenings, but it does have to be presented in a theater.
The Irishman was in theaters for a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm gonna go see it.
That's kind of
watch it for free, but
plus you'd be in there for a long time.
3.5
Day would turn
hours,
into night watching that movie in a theater. But I think it kind of just goes back to society and how we really look at things. And you say, well, this award means that this person is better than this person just because it's an award. And of course, it's great to be able to achieve those awards. And some people grow up. I mean, I grew up always wanting to win the Stanley Cup. That's the most coveted award in hockey. Yeah. And actors are the same way. They want to win Oscars. They want to do all this other things. And that's just how society presents it. But at the end of the day, does that really make you that much better? I mean, the debate in sports is...
I mean, I think that the debate as far as like awards and trophies go, from sports to like the Oscars and things like that, are a different debate.
I would say so,
because sports is you're the best, like you won the championship. Like there's a specific way it's set up. Like
when it comes to acting, there's not that.
But because like the thing is with films is there's so many movies that get made every year.
That is true.
And the thing with films is they're so subjective. I could hate a movie that you could love.
Right.
Like, so it's like the Academy Awards saying that this is the best movie doesn't make that a matter of fact. It's still based in opinion, because like just there's so many movies that get made. Like there's the ones that aren't even going to get recognition that like I could have absolutely loved.
Right.
But just because the Oscars didn't nominate them or say that they're the best doesn't change my opinion on it.
Yeah, I think that's a crazy thing to kind of take into perspective as well, because when it comes to sports awards, there's still opinion that plays into it. I mean, there's some sort of academy that comes into play, and they're like, I have my vote for this person because of this. Yeah. But stats do play a big role in that, and you do bring up a good point by saying that there's not really a way for actors to say that, yes, I won the championship or whatever, I did this. There's no playoffs for actors. It's like, I was in this movie in 2019, and this is the reason that I deserve to be considered for this category.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think that's about all time we really have for this episode. We talked about a lot of things. I think our main focus was just basically going over how the beginning of college stages have been for us, and got a little bit more into the later, but we were all over the place. I mean, Brennan and I talk a lot about a lot of different things, so it's nice
we're
to...
all over the place with our conversations.
But it's definitely nice to be able to sit down and do this in podcast form, and of course, you will probably be on another show sometime in the future. You're always welcome.
You know where I live, man.
I
right here.
I can walk right to your room and figure out what you're doing, so... I'm glad that you were able to be my first guest, and
I'm honored. Thank you for having me.
Of course, but thank you all for listening as well. I am always grateful for anybody that is able to give feedback, either if it's in a good or a bad fashion. I'm always open for constructive criticism and to be able to improve in any way possible. But thank you all for listening as well. This is the second episode of the Around the Table podcast. And of course, I think I'm going to do this as a weekly thing. And if I can get more and more guests coming on, maybe I'll do it more than once a week. It just all depends on my school schedule. But thank you all for listening. I am Jared Van Hauter. Thank you, Brennen Walton, for coming in to visit. And I will see you in the next episode.